Welcome back, guys. I know Infernoble has gotten the short end of the stick here on my channel. This is because I really don't play the deck a lot, but I do want to show you the base combo, the combo that you basically always want to use. This is the bread and butter combo, the combo you need to know, and the combo everything else basically builds upon. I will have a deck list at the end of the videos. If you want to copy that, you can definitely do that. There are other variants of this. There is a variant if you have a Renault in addition to 2 warrior monsters in your hand. You can then also play around Nip by making your gear freed a bit earlier. There's also a Diabellstar line, though the Diabellstar line basically ends you up on the same board that we will see right now. The board we are creating is the 2 warrior board. So if you have 2 warriors, which means you have access to your Isolde, that's what you can end up on with here. Also, we have some of the things that we would need to search, like the Almaze already in hand. It's not a problem. And the best starter you could have on this hand, and I will show you this in the deck list, is the Neo Space Connector, which basically gives you automatically 2 bodies, and then also you can check your opponent's hand for hand traps and discard them, so that's quite nice. But let's start here. Note here, one important thing, I have multiple Turpins in the deck. You probably won't have multiple Turpins in the deck, though now that I think about it, it doesn't make a difference. We are starting with normal summoning the Turpin here. The Fireflint Lady can now, if you control a warrior monster, be special summoned. This is what we're going to do. We then can, and this is what you want to achieve on the board, right? So you need 2 warrior monsters because you need to go into your Isolde. This is the most important part. Little tip here, if you make your Isolde and then your Isolde gets impermanenced, that is a problem, but what you can do is that you will make another warrior monster and then you make another Isolde, because the second effect is the most important one. This is the first on summon effect, where we can, this is by the way the Neo Space Connector, we can search a warrior monster to our hand that we cannot use this turn. It's for next turn, it's follow-up, it's basically a dead card in our hand, but the most important effect is this one here. We can send equip spells from our deck, and then we can special summon a warrior monster up to the number of equip cards, stars that we have sent. So you could set 1 card for a 1-star monster, or you can 4 cards for a 4-star monster, which is what we want to do here. This is a tech that you need to play, the Broken Bamboo Sword and the Coarse Bamboo Sword, because we need this in our hand, and if this here hits the graveyard, we can add this from our deck to our hand, because we will need this in the combo. So these 2 cards you will need to play. So we are sending the Cursed Bamboo Sword, the Durendal, a Joyous, and then also Angelica's Angelic Ring to the graveyard. Now we can summon a level 4 warrior monster. We are summoning the Ogier. Now you can see I can activate Ogier and the sword here. I go Ogier 1 and then sword 2. Sword will add me the other sword, the Broken Bamboo Sword, which we will need in a moment to summon our Turpin. So this goes to our hand, and in this case here, what you will normally send here is the Turpin, right? This one, but you already have it engraved because I play multiples. The normal deck list only plays 1, but he's already in here, so we don't really need to send him, but let's just, for the sake of making it correct, send the Turpin here. Next thing we can do is use the Broken Bamboo Sword and equip it to our Ogier. This allows us to now go into our grave and activate Turpin's effect. He has 2 to special summon itself while there's a equip card on the field to equip to a monster, and then you can also equip to a monster as an equip spell dot. This will come up in a moment. This will leave the field or gets banished when it leaves the field, but we will make use of a little trick here and just make an XYZ, the Artogios, and as you might know, or maybe not, if an XYZ material under a card, it's the same with Mefmec, for example, the Mefmec Alimbertion. If these materials now go to the graveyard, then they will not be banished, so this saves the Turpin from being banished, which is quite nice, I guess. When the Artorios is XYZ summoned, you can target up to 3 Noble Arms, equip spells cards with different names in your graveyard, and equip this to the guy here. So we are equipping Durendal and Joyous to him, which is nice because then we can use them in a moment. That's nice. Now we're activating the Durendal. This destroys itself to search ourselves a warrior monster. We are getting the Ricardetto, and now the card destroys itself. Then we can, because we need to get this to the grave, because if this here, the Joyous, goes to the grave, then we can special summon one of our fire monsters from the hand. We want to special summon the Ricardetto. So to get this in the grave, we will make the Promethean Princess with these 2 here. Now the Joyous can trigger and we will summon the Ricardetto. And now we are nearing basically the second important phase of this combo. You can now revive either the Ogier or the Turpin, it doesn't really matter. The second important part of this combo is to have a tuner level 1 and then a level 4 body to enable you to go into Angelica, the new synchro monster here, because Angelica will be able to search the field spell, the Noble Arms Museum. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to search the museum here. Don't need to play it right now. Next thing we do is we activate one of these graveyards effects. Either the Ogier or the Turpin, both can now be equipped to something. It doesn't matter which one you take here. Let's take the Ogier. We want to equip it to Angelica. And now we can chain Angelica because the card says when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can send one fire, a warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do banish this card until the end, then you can special summon one Roland monster from your deck or extra deck. So very, very confusing, very long effect, but you will see in a moment how this works. Quick little side note, if you would get impermed on the Angelica, you could also use this effect to dodge the imperm, so never ever use an imperm on Angelica. Or an effect value, that is. So we are sending, because this was part of the effect, the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. And now this banishes itself, and we can now summon a Roland monster, which we summon the Captain Roland to our field. This will obviously not equip now. Next thing we can do is use now I have to think about this for a moment, to be honest. We are reviving one of the level 4 bodies. We can use the Turpin, it does not really matter, because what we can now do is make the first Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles. And the Emperor Charles will then be able to be equipped with our Roland here. So take the Roland from the grave, equip it to the Emperor Charles. And now we can destroy a card on the field. We don't want to do this at this moment. We are going to make the first, I always call him Charlemagne. At some point he was called Charlemagne, I'm quite sure. And then we can activate him. If this card is link summoned, you can target one Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, and this card name becomes that target's original name, and it gains the target's original effect, and then equip that target to this target. So we will get this destruction effect of the Charlemagne here, which will be used now to destroy our Promethean Princess, because obviously you want to have her engrave. She's an additional interruption. We will now activate the Noble Arms Museum that we have searched to add our Almaze. Note here that we have the Almaze already in hand, so just pretend we would have added it here, right? So we use this to add the Almaze. Now we have to activate this first, because we need the second effect of the museum in a moment. We're getting to add another Joyous, but it doesn't matter. Just pretend it's not here. We have added the Almaze, right? We activate the Noble Arms Museum to because once per turn, if the previous effect was applied this turn, so this previous effect here, the search effect, you can target one Noble Knight monster card in your spell and trap zone, special summon it. Also, if you activated this effect while you did not control Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except warriors. We control the Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, but it doesn't really matter. The warrior lock obviously doesn't matter for us. We can now summon the guy here, and now the Almaze comes into play that we have just added to our hand. We have to equip this to this Emperor Charles, and now we can make the second Charlemagne. I'm going to call it Charlemagne. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you know why I think it's Charlemagne. Activate the Charlemagne and then also activate the Almaze. Almaze will now be able to add one of these cards back to our hand. We will take the Phoenix, Gearfried, Phoenix Blade guy, and add him back to our hand here. And now obviously we can once again equip here. Now we can use the Phoenix Gearfried to be special summoned to our field. Doesn't really matter what you banish here. This is a monster negate now. And now we can also use Turpin's effect. You might have Ogier still engrave to equip to... This one has already an equip, so we equip it here. Equip this card here, and then we go to the end phase where some things will happen. Firstly, we will get our Angelica back, which is nice. And then we can activate the Emperor Charles the Great, equipping the Angelica's Angelic Ring. I will explain this in a moment. We can equip another card, and we will equip the Morgius here. That's it. And now, as you can see, we are going over to our opponent. So, what is happening here? We have the Morgius equipped, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, because, for example, if you want to activate this negation effect, you have to send one of the face-up equip cards. You will send, for example, the Morgius. This card is sent to the graveyard. You can shuffle into the deck 3 of your other Fire Warrior or Noble Arms cards that are banished or in the graveyard and then draw a card. So you can recycle resources with this card. And then also draw a card, which is quite nice, right? You have Angelica's Angelic Ring, which says equip only to a monster you control equipped with an equip card. This is why we needed to equip the Turpin here before. But this says you can only control one Angelica's Ring. Each turn, negate the effect of your opponent's first spell card or effect that resolves. So whenever our opponent activates a spell card and it resolves, so we don't negate it with the Emperor Charles here, this will negate the first spell card. So this is a spell card negate, but you can't choose. It will always be the first one. And then obviously, as I already said, this is a monster negate. And as you might have already known, we have the Emperor Charles, which says if an equip card, okay, no, this is not the, where can we read the original effect? Because this is basically, okay, we can't now not read the original effect, but this is a spell and trap negate, this also. So we have two spell and trap negates. I can just not read it because it has basically become the effect of the Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles here. But this still has the effect of the Emperor Charles the Great to negate spells and traps. And then obviously we also have the Promethean Princess still engraved, which can, when our opponent special summons a monster, activate to, for example, destroy the Angelica, which you can then, by the way, still activate to once again banish her and send a card to the graveyard and summon a Captain Roland, and the Promethean Princess will still summon, because the Promethean Princess targets two monsters to be destroyed, but only needs one to be destroyed to be summoned. So you will destroy your opponent's monster, and then you can dodge with your Angelica, get more follow-up. You will get the Angelica back, obviously, at the end of the turn, and then you have also the Promethean Princess on the field, which you can, if she survives, use for follow-up next turn. That's the basic bread and butter combo, so let's hop right over into the deck list, and then you can copy it and go play Infernoble Knights for yourself. Alright guys, this is the decklist I would recommend at the moment. You can see we are running a lot of one-offs. Neospace Connector, definitely the best normal summon, because what you will do, we didn't see it now, but when this card is normal summoned, you can special summon Neospace in Monster or a Metal Hero Neos from your deck. You will special summon the Neos Space Aquadolph, and this is also a warrior, so we have two warriors then already. And then once per turn you can discard one card. Look, so this is at the beginning of your combo, right? You can discard one card, look at your opponent's hand, and choose one monster. If you control a monster with attack greater than or equal to the attack of the chosen monster, destroy the card. So we have the connector with 800. So if, for example, obviously your opponent will probably just play a Maxi, but if, for example, your opponent has an Ash Blossom or a Droll and Lockbird, you can then go ahead and just destroy the Droll and Lockbird or the Ash Blossom or whatever else. Could also be a Snake Eye Ash or something. Though Snake Eye Ash has how much attack? Let me quickly check before I tell you something wrong. It has 800. Okay, is it equal or is it like, let me check. Greater or equal. So you could also destroy something like an Ash or maybe a Populous. So that's quite nice. You can rip something out of the hand. This is the best starter because this gives you two warrior monsters. Then we have the Renault here, which we have not used in this combo, but you can use in another combo. If you have him on the hand and two warriors, you can play around Nibiru by getting an early Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. And then what else is here? We have one-offs of these cards here. We have the Super Quantum Red Layer, which is a card you don't need, but it's quite nice because if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if you, for example, have this one and another warrior, you need two warriors, remember, to go into Isolde, then you could just special summon him and then normal summon the warrior, right? We have the Diabellstar package, which basically gives you access to either your Renault or your Ricardetto, which is quite nice. Obviously, reinforcement, we have Heritage of the Chalice at one Noble Knight monster or one Noble Arms card from your deck, or Graveyard to your hand. So this is basically the in-archetype Rota if you want to. This is obviously awesome. You need to play 3 of this. Talents is a nice card at the moment, especially against Snake Eye. We have one of these. Obviously, we have this, as I already talked about. You can play Living Fossils. You can also not play it. 2 Durandal, because Durandal is also a nice starter searching your stuff. We have one Joyous, one Almace, the Angelica's Angelic Ring, triple Noble Arms Museum, called by 2 times, 1 crossout, 3 wanted. So for all of the guys, we have one Firefly Lady, because there were some cards I skipped over, one Infernoble Knight, Ricardetto, a 3 Neospace Connector, 2 Renault, 1 an Ogier, 1 Oliver, 1 Morgius, 1 Turpin, and the Super Quantum Red Layer, Diabellstar, obviously. And then we have one Roland, we have Angelica 2 times, we have 2 Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, we have a Baron de Fleur, we have the Artorius, we have number 41 Baguska, we have 2 Emperor Charles the Great, we have 2 Isolde. You can play the Ferocious Flame Swordsman, don't need to. Then we have Princess, and we have Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. So I hope this helped out in your Infernoble Knight journey. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell, and we will see each other in the next one.